Hey, you, welcome back to the channel, and I hope you're having a great day. Today, we'd like to talk about a situation with Bitcoin that possibly might be a catastrophic situation. So, some of you probably have been hearing about China once again considering a ban on Bitcoin. So, in a lot of cases, we've generally found that some of this has been FUD. The information hasn't been correct. However, research now has been done and discovered that within China, there exists basically a type of reform and development committee. It's a kind of different than maybe how things work here in the United States or maybe a lot of other places. But this particular group decides what gets done and what doesn't in China. Now they have certain categories. They have if they want something eliminated, if they want something encouraged, and if they want something developed. And so you kind of can exist in these three categories, and based on where you're at in those categories, that's pretty much what's going to happen to you. Now, what has recently happened is they found within this this group, this government organization, they found that basically Bitcoin mining has come up on the list of proposals to be banned in China. So they found it physically there as it is on that list. Now, does that mean that it's going to be banned? No, not necessarily. Does it mean that there is legitimate evidence and reasoning that Bitcoin will be banned? Mining, yes. So here's what we need to understand in the cryptocurrency space when we talk about information. There is the information that's just out there, and then there's information that is fact-based, right? And so this, I think, will fall more on the side of fact-based, saying that it is with this government organization on the table, right? And as investors and people involved in the cryptocurrency space, we need this information so that we know how to properly act on it. And of course, that will have a great bearing on the price of Bitcoin as well. So what happens if this were to happen? Let's just say they go ahead and move up the that proposal, and that proposal becomes reality. Well, according to developers and people who greatly understand the Bitcoin and what happens with the mining of blocks exactly and the difficulty levels, some believe that it will just come full stop, that it will be too devastating. 70% of the mining goes on in China. That's what's led many of us to believe, such as myself in several videos and episodes and doing some research, that it is very likely that Bitcoin itself is not really decentralized. With 70% of the mining taking part in China, many of us believe that that 70% would be already controlled by the Chinese government. In addition to that, several of these the large mining groups, which is probably only about 4 or 5 in China, several of them would probably, some believe, now this part is just kind of no facts are there really on this, but is a high possibility that some of them could be the same mining operation, right? They could collude together in a variety of things, and some people put that out there that they believe that's what's happening. Whether that's the case or not, what is clear is that there exists evidence that this could happen to Bitcoin, and we could have some serious problems there with what's going on with Bitcoin. I think, from my perspective, specifically dealing with where we sit in this bear market, that we're not at the end of it. Now, many believe that it's going to last pretty much the entire year, and towards the end, we're going to see some moves to the some real accurate moves to the to the gains, or rather, to the movement into the bull market, right? So some of us believe that. Um, with this information, it is more information on the table for us to consider. So I thought that was very important to put that out there, but also very important that if you're a Bitcoin holder, probably should have already done this. Maybe you didn't know about it. Maybe you're watching this video now. Now you got the information. So Bitcoin MYK, a project that we started. If this were to happen with Bitcoin, it wouldn't be affected like Bitcoin, right? Because it's kind of reminiscent of what you get with the Bitcoin Lightning Network, but it's a lot more things going on with it. If you have Bitcoin, you have the same value in Bitcoin MYK. You get to move that representative value around, but the Bitcoin MYK cryptocurrency and network is on several blockchains, which means if the Bitcoin network had a problem, you would still have that value on several of the blockchains, and you wouldn't have to pay for it. As long as you mined Bitcoin or bought Bitcoin or held Bitcoin, you automatically get those cryptocurrencies. Now, obviously that won't, solve all the problems with what's happening because everything's so connected to Bitcoin, but you will have a little bit more safety there with your Bitcoin holdings and investments. And I think you do yourself a great disadvantage of not taking advantage of that. Informed investors, people who are aware, or people who are aware of what's going on in the cryptocurrency space. And when new projects arise, you should be aware of them and see if they benefit you and give advantage to you. But in saying that and talking about the concerns we have to have going forward this year, let me move on to my next segment, which is dealing with Richard Heart and the HEX program, something that we have been supporters of and believers in. And we're going to talk about that a little bit. So Richard Heart was in a recent interview, and he was asked about basically what's going to happen with Bitcoin. Is the bear market over? And a variety of things. Now, if you don't know who Richard Heart is, a lot of people in the cryptocurrency space know who he is, but he's a very interesting developer who got involved with Bitcoin early. He was a Bitcoin maximalist who really championed Bitcoin, and then he started to see some of the shortcomings in Bitcoin and went on to launch his own project known as Bitcoin Hex, but then changed to Hex. And so this is all very important. Richard Heart, very intelligent guy, has been calling the market conditions well for years. And we did a video earlier about we felt that this wasn't the end of the bear market either. We looked at some of Tone Vays' data. Tone had been pretty good on his technical analysis, is calling some things spot on. Richard Heart, same thing. They both are bearish. And so one thing I've learned, folks, is excuse me, it's one thing when you get kind of those smart people who say something that you may or may not believe, and you get one really smart person who's been right about a lot of stuff, and they come to you and they say, well, this is going to happen this way. And you go, okay, well, maybe it will or maybe it won't, and you don't pay it much attention. But then it's an entire another thing when you start to get groups of these people, saying the same thing. And that's when I become concerned. And so starting to see a lot of evidence that people are still bearish doesn't mean that the bull market won't come through sometime this year, but it means that we're looking at probably another substantial dip, maybe a huge dip, before that happens. And looking at the charts, they're seeing evidence that, we might get this huge pullback. Now, people like Tone Vays were, saying things like it probably can pull back around the $4,200 mark. Interesting enough, Richard Heart is projecting out the same thing, something like 4,000 to 3,000, even going down back into the $3,000 marks, right? So all of that is possible, I believe, and this is what these gentlemen believe. Now, we've been covering Hex for a while. People been kind of concerned about Hex to some degrees, how Hex works, because it is designed to be the first CD in cryptocurrency, and so it uses smart contracts, runs on Ethereum, and if you're a Bitcoin holder, you get them free. So it's similar like a fork. That's why it was known as Bitcoin Hex before, and it was dropped because a lot of people was getting confused. They were thinking that it was a Bitcoin fork, or was it an airdrop or whatever it was. So it wasn't very important to Richard Hart. They moved it to Hex. Now, what's so interesting about it is that it does rely on this type of solution to the market, where the market doesn't move, where people aren't buying in, a variety of things, where it's kind of this staking type approach in the form of a CD through smart contracts, where you put your money in, and there are penalties when people pull their money out, kind of like traditional CDs and money investment vehicles. And the idea is to gain as much as you can on it, just like what we have in our bonds and our CD markets and a variety of things, right? And so it's a lot of moving parts with the Hex program, but I invite you all to check it out. It is a great project. In our opinion, I think it solves many problems of demand in cryptocurrency, as Richard Hart explains a great deal, and I agree with him 100%. The shortcomings of the demand in the cryptocurrency space. So that's something definitely we need to look at when we think about cryptocurrency. Where is the demand for it? Where is the real demand? Not like it's just a hobby of yours, you like the idea or you have a philosophy about it, but who is going to really use this, and for what, and how hard or difficult is it going to be for them to use it, and how efficient is it going to be for them to make their purchases and use them in everyday life. So when we can answer those questions properly, we can make, I think, more accurate predictions on what we're going to get with that. So right now what Hex is doing is basically you can sign up now for Hex and get your Bitcoin. If you're a Bitcoin holder, you can basically get your Hex tokens as soon as they're released, but you sign up now, and it verifies your Bitcoin wallet and all those things. We got a ton of videos on that, and you can subscribe to Richard Hart's channel that tells you how to do that. But what's interesting about it is Richard Hart brings up another very interesting point. And that is the problem with cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, decentralized cryptocurrencies in this regard. A lot of times what happens is that people aren't incentivized to market for the cryptocurrencies, right? Like you take something like Bitcoin, you're not incentivized to market for it. So a lot of people might not go out and promote it for other people to use it. Well, with Hex, that problem doesn't exist because you are compensated to promote it. You drop affiliate links, and these affiliate links basically allow you to earn some of a portion of that cryptocurrency Hex tokens, and then you're able to basically gain from that. So it works for everybody. It works for the person who's promoting. Now he's getting something for that, and it builds up the network, which many of us believe it will end up a top 10 cryptocurrency. Now, although my project Bitcoin MYK is drastically different from the Hex, there were some things in there that I think inspired us to do certain things in our project, and I think that's why we like Hex so much. But with us, we do have an affiliate program as well. And what's happening right now, since we are going to be dropping links to the Hex affiliate program on the website, if you go on our website and you check out Richard Hart's program, we're gonna get you out one of our cryptocurrencies that is now trading on the Steam Engine Marketplace and trading over on the Waves Exchange. You can get a token free today. Just trade that, cash it out, make some money, do whatever you want with it, hold it, hope it goes up, whatever you want to do. But if you sign up with the Richard Hart's Hex program through our link on our website, we'll leave a link in the description. You will receive one of our cryptocurrencies that is now available, that is now trading, that has value, and you can do what you want with that. And so all very interesting line of events coming up. God, just be careful, guys. A lot of advice going on now in these markets is, be careful where you're buying, because, you don't want to be buying too high at the top and it pulls back. Again, not financial advice. We just ask you do your own due diligence and go into that and figure that out. We just try to report what could possibly happen with this, things that can go right with it, things that could go wrong with it, right? It could still go up some before it pulls back to that, to a great degree, to the $4,000, $3,000 mark. We don't know, but you don't know either. And so that's why it's good to be protected. If you're a Bitcoin holder, you should already have your Bitcoin MYK. You should already have. Why is that? Because an informed investor, he seeks out the tools he needs, right? And he has to weigh the pros and cons to that. Very limited cons to Bitcoin MYK right now. You don't have to buy it if you hold Bitcoin. So that's why we're saying if all these events were to happen and you're a Bitcoin holder, you probably haven't done the best job of protecting yourself. So you need to be mindful of that. And of course, consuming our content, you're going to get a balanced view of what's happening in crypto, because you're not going to just get the all the great things and the and the upside potential. I'm going to be rich one day, or I'm going to do well in my investment, or Bitcoin's going $1 million. No. You're not going to get just that. You're going to get it might go to $1 million, or it might go to $0. That's what you're going to get here on this channel. So you have to decide if that's, the information you think is going to be valuable to help you maneuver through these markets properly. But that's all I want to say in this video, folks. If you like content like this, don't forget to like, subscribe. Don't forget to check out Richard Heart's Hex program. Don't forget to get your free cryptocurrency from us for doing it, and being involved in other projects on the site where you can earn some cryptocurrency and a variety of things, or smartphone mining and all those things. And if you have any questions, feel free to contact us, and so we can walk you through a lot of this very important information that's going to make your life in cryptocurrency a great deal easier, and probably a lot more fun, right? Because, like Richard Heart was saying in his video, we'll leave a link in the description and you can watch it. But what he was saying was the Hex program it was better than Bitcoin. And why would he say something like this? How could this be better than Bitcoin? I think not only is Hex better than Bitcoin, but I think our project is going to be better than Bitcoin as well. And you might say, this is ridiculous. How could you say such things? Well, the problem is, from a purely investment standpoint, when we started Bitcoin MYK, start trading on Steem Engine just not even more than a week ago or so. And over on Wave, same thing. In the beginning, it's going up 1,100%, 2,000%. Like, it's hitting like all these crazy numbers, right? And the possibility exists for projects to do that when you get in very, very early. And I think when they meet a great deal of demand, right? And I think Hex does that. I think our project does that. And that's why you start to see those kind of value increases. Now, can you see that in Bitcoin? No, you probably will never see that in Bitcoin anytime soon. That's because it takes billions, if not trillions of dollars to have Bitcoin do comparably what many other cryptocurrencies can do. Now, it could be argued, of course, that, you could probably do that. But maybe it's more easy for those cryptocurrencies to be manipulated or such in those things. And of course, all those things could be correct. But there also exists the possibility that you're just at the beginning of a really, really great idea and really great project, and you're involved in there, risk-free. You're a Bitcoin holder, so you don't have to purchase them. You're going to get the same amount of Bitcoins you get for that, and it's doing that, and you win. You win in that area. So that's something to think about, guys. Use all the tools that are available to you to be in a better situation in the cryptocurrency space, and protect yourself if need be, right? In case some of these things happen that we talked about at the beginning of the video. But guys, that's all I got in this video. If you like content like this, don't forget to like and subscribe. And until next time, take care.